Winter changed into spring.
Nice.
Spring changed into summer.
Oh.
Summer changed back into winter. And winter gave spring and summer a miss and went straight on into autumn.
So good morning or afternoon.
It's a little late in the day. Hi.
How did your thing go in Colorado Springs?
Oh, the event went great. So I did a journal making class in Manitou Springs, and I had 4 makers, and then one of them was, I want to say she was maybe 14, and so her mother was kind of like helping her, even though I think it was more detrimental, honestly. But yeah, it went really well. It was a good crowd, but we had fun. We didn't get to finish, so it was only a 2-hour class, so I'm thinking when I do it again, it's going to be a 3-hour class next time.
Do you have a next time plan?
Not for the journal making. So in 2 weeks, I will be doing a tote bag sewing class, which is also only 2 hours. But then I'll see from that one kind of how it goes. And then next year, so I'm only doing summer. So then next year I can kind of plan accordingly to how these worked out. How about you?
Spent a lot more of my day on back to school yesterday than I anticipated for a single 18-year-old. But that's because I have not had to do a proper back to school in years. The ISC is just get the child there, we'll work it from there.
Yeah.
This is the first time I had to, okay, we need a backpack, we need this, we need that. I have pencils, you're not taking mine, so here's your own pack.
Right.
That kind of thing.
And then there's a lot of identity processing for him, I think.
Yes, definitely
also.
more of a sense of fashion this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, along the lines of going to Hidden Lake, though, when I was in the house just before recording, I was listening. He was talking to a friend of his, and I thought Christian was talking about a game. Turns out he was saying, "Oh yeah, really long odds to get there, and I just don't want to screw it up." No, and then I thought he was talking about a game. He's talking about school, with a very sincere, that very serious tone he applies to his hobbies. No, I can't screw this up. I've been given a chance. Was very much his attitude. I did not expect that.
Yeah, I hope that sticks with him. Yeah, because it's about time he finally sees something as his last chance.
Yes. So that was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, that's nice to hear.
Fall has not yet fallen, but it's on a trajectory.
Yeah. There's a pattern.
Yes.
Forming. Yeah, so just kind of finishing up summer stuff, right?
I mean, just the heat alone, I'm ready for the end.
Yeah, this summer has been kind of exhausting.
A little bit.
I mean, it's just taken so much out of me. And it's interesting, though, because I've been spending so much time in Colorado Springs, it's always raining in Colorado Springs.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, so then it's kind of put a damper on my whole, like, camping and building a fire part of camping.
No pun intended.
Right. Yeah, it's just been a weird year.
Yeah.
A weird summer, I mean. So I have a few benchmarks for myself, too, like a few goals to set to get done by a certain time. So, like, the model that's behind you that I'm doing for school. This is one of those things where I took on way too much. It's a very... And I knew going in that it would be a difficult project. There's lots and lots of pieces. But it's of a building, a huge 3D model of a building that we use for interior design at school for a Revit project. And I'm doing a 3D model of it because no one's learning actually how to make, or they don't understand building structures because they're just fighting with Revit.
It's too abstract.
So this is hopefully going to let them look at the pieces and go, oh, that's why this does this. Yeah. And I want to have that done by like November, December before I go back to school. But yeah, so, and then the van, lots of projects as far as the van.
Yes, you got a van.
And I'm going to camp in it. So I'm remodeling it and putting insulation in and all of that stuff so that I can travel during the summers and maybe even part of the winters, depending on how warm it stays. But so I started with wall paneling and I've been playing around with different ways to do that. And then the wood shop at school I'm able to use, and he's going to help me because he actually has carpentry background. So then he can help me with the storage part of it, which is great. But so I'm going to probably be working on that with him until October-ish.
So would you say that end of the year plans fall into winter is our topic today?
Since I started taking meds and all that stuff, like seasons have been very much a part of my like making goals or setting goals for myself, and like by season has definitely been a big part of that. partly because I discovered I have seasonal depression,
Right.
and partly just because it just makes sense to me. Obviously, I can make during the summer a lot easier than I can in other months. Colorado, we have some leeway there,
Yeah.
but it doesn't always work that way. But yeah, definitely our topic is seasons, seasonal stuff and plans and goals and expectations
Yeah.
of seasons. And
Are you dreading the colder months this time around?
I am dreading it a little bit because I know how cold it gets in the studio.
Yeah. I meant emotionally, but yeah, that too.
Oh, well, yeah, that too. And I mean, I very much planned for me starting school in spring so that I wouldn't be starting school in the fall and then
Right.
going into winter depression. So again, expectations and knowing these things ahead of time is easier to plan, I think. What I'm looking forward to for winter is that I will be able to save some money. I won't be having projects. I won't be spending money on things like wood for the
Wood
van.
panels and-
Yeah. So then I can save up some money and then go into next summer with a little bit of a cushion,
Yeah.
which is something I am looking forward to as far as winter. I'm not good at, well, I have money, I just can't spend it. If I have money, I want to spend it. I've got money. I need to remind myself of the feast or famine idea. Because I very much do that to myself.
Right. You want to spend it on wood paneling and insulation for the van. You don't want to spend it on
eating out every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your expectations for September, October, November, let's say?
Getting projects done, I think, mostly.
And the ones you've started. You don't have any new
Yeah,
projects.
I'm not starting any new projects.
You've got your models.
I've got the model for school.
And a different type of project, you're starting that D&D club.
Yeah, which will be a nice thing, I think.
Yes.
To have active during.
And I can help you with that with a certain level of authority.
True. Yeah, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
I'm excited to help you. I mean, I'm not attached to the school in any way.
Yeah.
So I'm basically, I am literally just an outside observer / advisor.
Yeah, but you have experience. This is one of those things where we try not to bring something up to another person unless we're committed to doing it, because
I'll show up once a month and play D&D.
No, what I'm saying though is that it was purely just a fun thought in my mind,
Mhm.
and I let it out.
As I recall, you you expected me to shoot you down.
I did.
And that was a miscalculation on
It
your part.
was. So, but you attached to it,
Like,
and
yeah,
here
I'll
we
do that.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually been a little stressful this month, just trying to do all of my normal projects, all of my normal duties for my job, and then also get a club started, which is more than you think. Like, students don't even know about it yet, but just going through the process, because, you know, the school allows for a stipend, and it has to be proper, and you need to have a president, and for right now I'm the president. But really my only part for the club really is the organizational part of it, and to help people create actual 3D models.
That's what I was going to say, is once you get to that part where people are playing around and you get to like talk the creative end of like whether it's the 3D model for a thing or whatever it is they're doing, I think you're going to be a lot more excited.
Yeah, I will be. But Max has basically volunteered to become DM for the group. Initially, yeah, because obviously the goal is to have students come up with their stories.
Exactly.
And use them. But I think it'll be good for you to get the ball rolling and to just be a sounding board for students too, of like what's going to work and what's not.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
And then just as far as work too, orientation is coming up for fall, and that's always fun.
What are you handing out the fun?
We are doing a resources, like job fair and resource fair.
Okay.
For students, and we will have a club's tent, and I'll be sitting there part of the time talking about the club and handing out posters and hopefully stickers, but I don't know if I'll get stickers done in time.
You made a really cool flyer too.
You made a really cool flyer.
No, you made the flyer. I just said maybe put this on it.
Do this, and this. That was it was your creative baby though. I just did the like work because my flyers looked very different.
I could have had all kinds of ideas. It wouldn't have turned out like that. Without you,
maybe.
It would not have looked like that. I would have just grabbed graph paper and hand drawn it.
But yeah, so fall orientation is always fun at school. What else have you, like, what do you feel like summer is coming into a...
just being more comfortable in the house because of the weather. That's just the practicality of it. Just back to school for the child is nice. The adult child is going to be nice. And it's going to be on a more realistic, or I guess, well, a better schedule. It's going to be 8:30 to 2:30, as opposed to having to make sure by 6:50 that he was there, which is, oh my God, that's horrible.
Yeah, I have a feeling that, like me, he will just stay up later then.
Yeah.
And then waking up in the morning is still harder.
We'll see.
But yeah,
We'll see.
because I tend to do that for sure. I think, oh, I don't have to go into work until 10. I'm going to stay up until midnight, 2 o'clock, and then I'm just the same off as I am when I have to be there at 8. So
I mean, like we were saying earlier, he seems really invested in this, so I think he'll find an equilibrium.
Yeah.
Because it's something he wants to do.
It's for him. Yeah, it's not really for you anymore or anyone else. It's something he wants. So, all right, so let's talk about going into fall then.
Yes.
September, hopefully we'll have a puppet slam. It was at the end of the month, which is good for me. But
yeah. Well, I feel more apt to want to be willing to drive to what I presume is going to be Colorado Springs.
It will be.
When it's a little bit cooler.
Yeah. Katie.
Right now the idea of just driving out there is like, oh my God.
Yeah.
For a palooza, for a puppet palooza,
it's worth it.
It's worth it. For a couple of hours at a slam.
At least coming back though, it's night, so even
if but even so, that's it's the drive eats up more time than the slam, or equivalent. That's a lot.
And that's part of why I like sleeping down there. Yeah, it makes sense to me, right?
I mean, gas prices being what they are, that's a stupid concern, but it's a concern.
It's not a stupid concern. It's a valuable concern. Yeah. It cost me $30 just in gas to get there and back yesterday.
So a puppet slam is hard to justify for me.
Well, and if we've got more time to plan for it, maybe we can decide, well, let's spend the night in Colorado Springs or something
like that.
Yeah, it's not quite Colorado Springs. If anyone paying attention knows the difference, it's actually Green Mountain Falls.
Yes.
Which is where we do the slams. Which
Also
I've taken much a liking to.
On a similar note, I'm reminded, and we should probably touch base with her, is Anna was talking about just, a group trip to Santa Fe.
Yeah, that's another thing, right? So Scarlett and David are actually moving to Austin in October. And then I had talked about driving down there to see them and visit. And on the way, obviously, I could stop in Santa Fe and El Paso.
Right.
And then you would come with me to probably Santa Fe and El Paso, right? And then just take a bus back.
Something like that.
Yeah.
This particular Santa Fe trip involved Mary and my mom coming up from El Paso and basically making it a halfway for everybody.
Yeah.
If it
happens around the same time,
right,
then I just kind of follow them home.
Right, and I don't go on to El Paso.
Yeah. Depends if timing, if it all falls into place. So.
Yes. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, lots of different people to decide things, and your family's not good on deciding things. So. No. And obviously I have no input on what Scarlett's doing, so it's just dependent on they do what they're doing. For me anyway. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Santa Fe, El Paso, Austin. Never been to Austin before.
You like Austin.
That's what everybody says.
Let me rephrase that. There is the potential for you to like Austin.
It is still Texas after.
Well, not even that. It's just today's topic, expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I often do not know what you expect, even though I have all the data and I know you very well. You'll come to a conclusion and have this firmly lodged in your head, and I have no idea where it came from.
Right.
So I don't know what your expectation is, but
Austin.
Of Austin. Plus, you'll be there with two people who've not been there either. So there's going to be a sense of wonder for all three of you.
Yeah.
And you'll probably end up enjoying that. I think you and Austin by yourself would probably lead to disappointment because you're not really finding your way around, and all the stuff that the average person is going to suggest, like, oh yeah, you need to go out drinking on this night. No, that's not you. I think something more like you and two other people with an open slate who get along are going to have a good old time.
And that are all up for, well, let's do that. Oh, look at that thing over there. Let's go do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Scarlett and David are very good about making some plans. Scarlett's very much a planner, as am I. Yeah. But at the same time, we're also up for, well, that doesn't quite work out. Let's do that thing instead. But yeah, so expectations of Austin are that I don't know what to expect.
Which is good.
I expect to have fun because I can have fun anywhere. But I am not going by what other people have told me.
It is, for your taste, the best Texas experience you're likely to have.
Yeah.
Of the state. Yeah. As opposed to, my family.
Right. Yeah, El Paso is its whole different
thing.
So yeah, I basically am going into Austin not having any expectations because I don't want to presume.
Right.
I am going there literally just to see for myself and visit Scarlett.
Yeah. Look at buildings. Do that.
Yeah, I mean, architecture is always a thing for me, right?
Yes.
No matter where I go. So what about if you do go to Santa Fe and even El Paso while Christian is in school?
That is being gauged bit by bit.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of us just taking off to Santa Fe overnight, or, relatively speaking,
Yeah.
there too. He was definitely, I'll just stay home and take care of it. Which I think September, October, he'll still be in the whole I want school to go well stage. So
Mhm.
we can go. Getting somebody just to kind of peek in on him
Mm-hmm.
is not the worst idea. I am incredibly trepidatious, but I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah.
However, if we're meeting family, he'd be more likely wanting to go.
Yeah.
If we're going with family and meeting more family, the idea of no, I want to see everybody. That's different.
Yeah. What else? Goals, expectations.
Yeah, goals, saving money for me.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in the job I'm stuck in, but they're paying me more, so I'm gonna make the absolute best of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully you get more opportunities to have little different jobs within your job like you have been.
I'm hoping that lasts. Back to expectations. It's the fear that they're going to take that away. It always is the worst for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to start enjoying my job as well. You can't have that. No.
Which, I mean, hopefully you realize isn't a personal thing. They don't know
it doesn't matter.
But that's the way you see it.
No, I don't even see it as personal. That's worse. I see that as the way of the world. To always take nice things away from everybody at every opportunity. I mean, I'm exaggerating when I say it like that, but you get my point. I don't take it personal. I don't feel targeted.
Okay.
The universe is just miserable and unjust. Well, that goes down to what we're talking about with expectations. It's on me to. The universe isn't going to give me anything.
Mm-hmm.
The universe is going to do what it's going to do, and it is on me. It is my duty to provide myself with whatever joy, happiness, and contentment that's going to come my way. I have no expectation that it's going to come from nowhere.
Is that part of taking responsibility for your decisions?
Yes, sole responsibility for my decisions.
And I mean, this is probably a good one for me, is separating your wants from shoulds.
Yes. Now this isn't just you, though you're the most common person I observe because I see you more. But I always feel that the world in general, and I mean by the world I mean just people, tend to lean into that. They lean into it more than I do, so from my point of view, it always seems excessive.
Yeah. So I think I have tendencies to do it, although I very much live by the take responsibility.
Yes, you do. Personally
Christian, I think, is probably the worst at that, is because I want it to be, it is going to be, or should be, versus, no, that's not the way that works. Yeah. Part of this one, I think, is that whole idea of, well, I've heard from all of these stories, all these shows, all these movies have told me, well, if I keep trying hard enough, if I keep going after my goals, if I keep doing this, if I keep doing that, then then I'm going to succeed or something. Right. And that kind of fits into that, is just because I want it to happen, that it's going to. It hurt me bad.
I tie it to the first one we talked about. Because on one hand, if you continue working hard, then this thing's going to happen. To which I say, no, it's not just, it won't automatically happen. At the same time, it is also the only way it could possibly happen.
Yeah.
So working hard doesn't guarantee you'll get it, but not working guarantees you
not
won't.
Getting it. Yeah, exactly.
So it's a fine line. But at the same time, it's not the I performed the hard work ritual.
Right. I'm not praying for it.
Give me the thing I did.
Yeah, I did the what ritual did you call it?
The hard work ritual.
The hard work ritual. Yeah.
Yes, I performed the ritual, and they'll give me the thing.
Yeah.
And I compare it when I'm talking to Christian to being a game thing. I get it. You typed in the code. You went from point A to point B to point C. Why are they not bestowing the magic sword on you? Because that's not how it works. Now, if you didn't do any of those things, you definitely wouldn't have gotten it, but nothing's guaranteed.
So talking about fall going into winter, I tend to be maybe not a less creative person, but a less productive person.
Right.
And you are opposite.
Well, you're so much outdoor work.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to saw, I have to paint, I have to drill, I have to,
Whereas you're hunkered in for winter, you're going to write.
My happy place, and I've said this a couple times, it's only because I've been doing it recently, is my happy place is at a writing surface, a bunch of wooden pencils, a stack of paper, and more books. No, not even the D&D books. Just more books that I need for whatever it is I'm working on.
Yeah.
That is what it is. It just happens to be D&D right now because A, we got that club coming up.
Yeah.
And B, it's also on the minds of several of my siblings.
And Colin.
And Colin, yeah. So I've got multiple people who are interested in that topic, so I'm living in that topic.
Yeah.
It could just as easily become something else.
Yeah.
If that fades, it could just be,
especially after a slam.
yes,
Then your creative juices
yeah,
start going other
and
places.
you're gonna come to me with stacks of Picasso art books and
sticks of wood.
and sticks of wood and a bunch of graph paper and some measurements.
We'll probably play a lot more games this winter than we have been.
Yes, we got the new Root stuff. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that too. As it warmed up, we very much moved away from Arkham.
Which makes sense.
It is very much a hunkered down in the dark kind of game.
Yeah.
And kind of sitting in there like sweating, fanning yourself. It just doesn't
work.
It doesn't work the same way.
All right, well, let's get into spring then. Next year, 2023, what might change for you? What's different maybe for next year? Do you have anything?
I feel like by then I will have built up a little bit of a nest egg. And my goal is to maybe put some money into the physical materials to start putting together that Quixote.
Yeah, I think winter will be a good time for us to play with materials.
Yeah.
And then going into spring, summer, we might actually start like.
For me, it's going to be a lot of sketches, I think.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Sketching, playing with clay and wood and wire and cardboard and just all of these different materials to, literally just playing with like getting a material wet. What does that do?
Well, actually, we should probably roll that back. We should stop. We should probably focus on what's he building in there. That's what we should do.
Maybe you're right.
Because that one has because Don Quixote doesn't even have a clear starting point.
There's no story, you mean? There's no...
No, not even that. Because, I mean, presentation is almost not even on my mind. That's not even something I'm considering.
Yeah.
Just, we don't even know what we're making it out of. We are literally still figuring out what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas what's he building in there is conceptually done. We're just moving on to birthing it physically in whatever, in wood and... Yeah, I mean, it's going to be our norm. Yeah, maybe you're right. That's realistically what we should be doing.
I want to play with materials more. Money definitely is a big part of that.
Right, and I want to be able to spend money knowing that if this doesn't work out, I may just be tossing this in a bonfire.
Yeah, but both of us kind of using the winter to save money and build a nest egg back up is really nice, I think. Yeah. All right, well, going into spring, typically we would, well, I say typically, but it's been years since we've done an Olicon now, but it still gets in your blood every year.
Yeah, I always, 90% of the time, I'm glad to have it off my plate. The other 10% of the time, I miss it. I really, really miss it. Yeah. It's a vague sense of relief, but a very deep sense of loss when I do miss it.
Yeah, and luckily, I mean, Palooza kind of fills that for you.
Palooza helps a lot.
Not quite the same, but you have fun making puppet examples.
I love it.
Of every year, yeah.
I love it. It's the prep time for Anomaly Con that I don't really miss, and it took so much prep time.
Spraying guns and letting them dry for days,
and then doing nothing with them because they're for other people to do stuff with.
Yeah. Me going back to school will happen next spring. I've mentioned that a couple of times, but yeah, so I've decided to go and get my master's at CSU for adult education with a focus on arts management.
What does arts management mean? I've been meaning to ask. What exactly does that mean?
It means lots of things. It's almost, so a lot of it would mean production, so like what Katie does. Organization of things, collecting the people who do the things, and, overseeing all those things. Basically the role I was doing for Day of the Dead, except on a much more professional level.
Yes, I was going to say. Let's call it that.
Yeah. But the idea is so that I have the adult education background, but I'm not going to use it for its traditional purposes I'm going to go work at a college now.
Right.
I might do that. I'm going to obviously be tutoring where I am for a long time, but it's the things on the side. So working with the Puppet Guild, doing more projects with them and being more involved in the process of that.
Right.
Doing more classes like I've been doing with the journals and the totes with places like the Manitou Art Center. It's really just filling in the gaps of being able to do more stuff like that and having it on my resume that I actually know what I'm talking about.
I think for me, it's just digging in and just accepting where I am with work.
Mm-hmm.
But rather than taking on more responsibility in the periphery, enjoying that time more, which sometimes does, which of course does often involve responsibility, but not necessarily. not putting myself in too many positions where I'm expected to be here, I'm expected to be there, I'm expected to perform at a certain level.
How do you see yourself moving forward with looking for a job?
I don't, honestly, because I don't think I'm going to find anything. As much as I wanted that tutoring, the enjoyment to pay ratio isn't there.
Now, I mean, yeah, that was different 3 months ago before they gave you this raise.
Yes, correct.
It makes a lot of difference.
A $2.50 raise is significant, and I would have to truly love, but also I'm going to take a pay cut. And I don't think I'm going to find anything.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that statement very much. I just think that it wouldn't hurt to still be looking in those avenues at some maybe other school. Or
maybe eventually. I can't do that now because I'm just disappointed. Too many disappointments in a relatively short period of time, and I can't. I have to give myself a little bit of time to come down off of it.
Yeah.
Because as I've said before, I always counsel people not to expect or to hope very much, and then I don't do it, and then I allow myself that luxury once, then twice. I need a deep breath before I risk putting myself in that position again. Otherwise, it's going to be diminishing return. I don't manage it.
Yeah. I just don't want you to get burnt out on the job again and then get to that point where you're like, I want to just fucking quit. You are going back to therapy.
That's the goal, yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm filling out papers for that.
Yeah.
Virtual and otherwise.
And let me rephrase that. How are your expectations different going into this than in the past?
They currently are not different. And I think that's actually for the best.
You need to leave that long pause in, by the way, when we're editing, because that said more than what either of us could have said.
I think if I spend too much time reevaluating what I feel like I need from therapy, then I don't need therapy. It's a level of self-awareness that I don't need. No, I need to go in saying, I have no expectations. I'm a mess. This is all falling apart. I got nothing. What do you got?
Is that how you're going to go in?
But close to it.
Because you are definitely a hot mess.
Yeah. And everybody says I should do this. I tried this a couple times. Here's why it didn't work. I don't know.
That's the fucking, you just said it. I did it a couple times.
That's not expectation.
You can't just do something a couple times and go, oh yeah, that didn't work. Okay, moving on. It takes time. There's a process.
It made it worse.
It's good. Yes.
Not talking about my emotions came out and things were worse. It's the whole idea of I'm always worried that that something good is going to go away, and then my insurance changes as, about that. I know you're worried about money.
Yes, but the fact that you can't deal with that is why you need to go to a therapist and plan for these things.
Lighthouse bailed. Functionally around the same time, and then my insurance is. I can't. The rug won't stop getting pulled out from under me, so maybe I stop standing on rugs.
You need to prepare for these things because you knew Lighthouse was going to go away at some point due to just his age.
It was no. That's different between. Oh yeah, we have all these plans. We're making all these dates for you. Oh wait, no, never mind.
Yeah, no, I admit that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we're stopping this now.
What is it says it right here in this. Be open to elements of surprise. So you still plan, you still have expectations of things and goals, but you have to also incorporate the element of surprise because the universe is not going to always do what you want it to do.
The problem is if you assume that it's going to screw you over, the element of surprise goes way down.
But then you don't ever do anything.
A lot of things. And I am routinely told, oh, that was a bad idea.
All right.
40-some years of putting myself out there and taking a risk has never...
When have you put yourself out there and taken a risk? I've known you for almost 10 years. You've never done that.
Yes, a quarter of my life. And every risk I've... Yes.
So for 10 years, you haven't done it.
That's not true.
Okay,
I did it recently. 2 attempts to get out of my work situation have both been met with...
2 attempts. I'm looking at the screen, meaning I'm looking at you, audience. 2 attempts.
No, recently.
In 10 years.
No. Talking about just recently.
I know. 2 times recently.
Do you want me to
literally 10.
Do you want me to literally go over the last 10 years point by point? Because we don't have time for this.
I do. Maybe not right now.
But no, I will go over all the attempts I've had.
Okay, I would love that.
And that's just sticking to post-marriage.
Yes. Marriage does not count because that was a dumb expectation.
Not even that. But the point is, I know. I have. And then it was not working. I was suffering at every turn. So finding a place where I knew where my money was coming from, and I knew I could pay for mine and Christian's food and maintain my life became ultimate, because I could not slide lower than that. I had to maintain that level.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, is that it also never gave you the opportunity to rise above just that, because you never took a chance doing anything.
I think you're mistaking me not doing it in front of you performatively and making you aware of it with me not doing it. Things in general, I mean.
I think we talk often enough in a non-performative way that I would know if you were like applying for jobs or putting yourself out there in some way.
Yeah, I think that's a mistake.
I don't.
I think what it is not that one of ours is necessarily better. It's just that we are so polarized that each one of us sees the other as incredibly excessive, when the reality is somewhere in the middle. That's my guess. Is because from my point of view, it's like, how are you even thinking in these terms when you're looking at the van going, well, hopefully I'll be able to pay for this next month.
No, I know I can pay for the van.
I know you can, but you express the anxiety.
Yes, that's because I've been diagnosed with anxiety.
Right, exactly my point. So why would you not manage it by simply removing these things from your plate?
Because then I wouldn't be doing anything with myself, which is also not healthy.
You'd be working on a van.
I am working on a van. I can't predict the future. I'm not going to be dependent on, well, this is what's going on right now, so I just do what I think is right. Because I live in the moment.
Right, and you can
and I plan as best I can.
Right, but that's your life.
Which is why I've got anxiety now when I've only got $200 in my savings, rather than the difference from 2 years ago when I was stressed out that I had $0.
Right. But the assumption is that I can do that too on some level. I cannot. My life is not structured that way. Not as long as I have one other person, at least, who's
fine. Put that on parenthood. That's fine, but that's also why I never had children, so that I could do this.
Right. But
I could live this way.
Yeah, but the difference is you're urging me to take risks. I'm just shaking my head as you do it, right? But not urging you to stop.
I'm not asking you to take risks and have 3 bases in different cities. I'm asking you to apply for a different job than the one that you fucking hate.
Right, and I did that, and I made it very clear that my experience and my setup and my age make that untenable. Whereas I can continue to do this.
And see, I don't understand how that doesn't make you think, well, shit, maybe I should go back to school, because I'm 40-something and I have no skills.
Because
outside of the skills that I have of this job that I fucking hate.
When I tried that,
you went for fucking something your ex-wife thought you should do. Not for something you wanted to do.
I was still taking like courses that I enjoyed as part of the thing, and I could not manage my time. I did not have it in me.
I think that's incorrect. I think you're.
Well, I was there.
Well, so was I.
Well, I was there.
I think that you're using those excuses because you're disappointed it didn't work. But what it was is that I think you were sabotaging yourself from the beginning, that it wasn't something you actually had any interest in doing.
I enjoyed it enough. Again, I don't have to love every second of everything to get something out of it. I mean, you've often said the level of input and control you have in something affects your interest in it. You've called yourself on this, so I'm not saying anything you haven't heard, but your tendency to bulldoze rather than just, I have no input. And rather than just enjoying something that you have no input or control and just enjoying it. And that's sort of what I have to do. I have to enjoy things that I have no control over. I have to give up control and just enjoy it for what it is. I can sit here and think, oh, this could be done a whole bunch of better ways. But I will enjoy life more if I stop trying to like grab it by the reins and make it do what I want. And right now, I'm in a job that I am capable of doing, even if I dislike it. I am capable of doing it and not getting fired, and they are finally paying me what I think that effort is worth. And it is allowing me to not have to wake up in the morning and rush. I still get out in an hour where I'm not completely wasted. And it's affording me the ability.
We can still make a donut run in the middle of the night.
Exactly. And I have my weekends when people I care about spending time with are also free. And enough money to do something with it at that time. That is an improvement. And it may not be the improvement that I intended for myself, but it's the improvement that has paid off from years of dealing with a job that I did not like. That is my reward for being steadfast. And that's not nothing.
No, but we also went off the subject of what I was talking about.
Yeah, but it's all the topic of expectations, and why not take a risk? Because right now the reward isn't there. Right now, and that could change. But right now, the 2 risks I've taken have had more. They made me more emotionally devastated than a day at work at a job I hate.
Yeah. Well, and I'm wondering too, and obviously I'm talking from experience here too, but I'm wondering too if it's almost like, toughening up your skin is to start applying for things that you're not so like emotionally invested in.
Yeah, I see the value in that.
Yeah.
So that I got you.
Yeah, I do think there's something to that.
With that as the stated goal, that definitely becomes something I'm more interested in doing.
We'll close it here. Is there anything specific you want to leave with?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Well,
We got stuff to do.
Yeah, let's go play a game.
Yeah.
Bye.